It's a well-known fact for people familiar with Faith No More's music that they are almost unparalleled in their versatility, fearless uses of different genres, with ventures into borderline avant-garde style tendencies, all while maintaining great songwriting skills and amazing live energy. But as any musician worth their salt will testify, having a great bass player will elevate any band to new heights. In Faith No More's case, Billy Gould is that bass player. Although he has been a core member of Faith No More from early days of the group's inception, in my experience, Billy Gould is not commonly a name to appear in discussion amongst the larger bass world, whether that be on forums, polls, online lessons subjects, or Instagram and YouTube covers. Despite his consistently tight playing, explorative approach to bass technique, stylistic tone choices, and great intuition for writing interesting bass parts. As an aside to this point though, Mark from TalkingBass.net did a great video breaking down some of Gould's bass lines. I highly recommend you check it out. Examples of Gould's intuition for great bass lines that would define Faith No More's heavy sound for the early part of their career can be found as far back as 1983's Quiet in Heaven, when the band was still going by Faith No Man, with vocalist Mike Morris and keyboardist Wade Worthington. This era of the band's sound is commonly compared to the group Killing Joke, with its post-punk textures and Jazz Coleman-esque vocal delivery. Gould's aggressively picked bass tone also lends itself to this comparison, as this style of playing was synonymous with Killing Joke's bass player, Youth. Immediately this song gives us a signature Billy Gould style bass line, with aggressively picked distorted bass, yet the line hops and bounces with syncopated 16th notes rather than going for a more conventional straight 8th note punk approach. This carries the groove of the song quite well when locked in with the tom rhythms laid down by Mike Borden, allowing the rhythm section to fill out the verses and making the absence of guitar until the chorus even more impactful. During the chorus, Gould opts to switch to a more conventional straight rhythm, but subverts this approach in the second half by holding a note and sliding up the octave to increase the tension of this section. He would apply the technique seen for greater impact in his later work. Another fascinating example of the Faith No Man era is Under the Gun from a rare footage San Francisco show. The immediate comparison between bass lines that came to mind for me was Killing in the Name by Rage Against the Machine. Despite the song predating it by 7 years. With the 3-dotted 8th notes and aggressive tone, as well as the bass being highlighted for that riff, there's a similarity that I can identify. Realistically, this would be coincidental, but both lines are so catchy in a simplistic and primal way that this can easily be chalked up to great minds thinking alike. 1985's We Care A Lot was the debut album by the newly revived version of the band, now going by their lasting moniker, Faith No More. Although the group was yet to unite with renowned vocalist Mike Patton, Chuck Mosley is a talented frontman and unique vocalist in his own right. The title track of this album saw some MTV play, giving the band greater exposure, and also introduced Billy Gould's efficiencies with slap bass. The approach to songwriting has pivoted in a different, more heavy metal direction, while simultaneously building upon Gould and Borden's rapport as a rhythm section, and doubling down on the aggressive bass tones and huge drum sounds. The live version of this song with Mike Patton from 1990 is my favourite version, although I still find Chuck Mosley's approach to the song very endearing. 1987 saw the band release their second debut, Introduce Yourself. Due to the low levels of distribution of We Care A Lot, this re-included the title track of that album with a music video. This is usually considered their first official album, and would also be the final one to include the late Chuck Mosley, who passed away in 2017. And Song is the other track to include a music video, and continues Billy Gould's slap bass trend. Chinese arithmetic is another interesting example of this album, as it includes some chords played by Gould in a very specific moment. 1989's The Real Thing is very aptly titled, as I feel it's the album when the band really came into their own, and I'm going to spend a lot of time on this album to prove that point. Obviously, the addition of Mike Patton elevated the band's songwriting with such an undeniably talented vocalist, but focusing on Billy Gould, this album is brimming with amazing bass work from beginning to end. Gould wastes no time injecting energy into the opening track from out of nowhere, immediately coming in with a preemptive note hammering into an 8th note pedal on the root, with an energetic rise up the neck to the octave on the last bar to launch us into an iconic bass line that drives the song, with busy hopping rhythms on the upbeats of the pulse, complementing the high-tempo drums, and wraps up the bar with smooth sliding fills. Heavy-picked bass line slamming on the open E string is incredibly fitting and adds so much power to the rap-style verses of this song. The music video for this song is how I was first introduced to Faith No More in my teens. I distinctly remember Jim Martin's shirt having a tribute to Cliff Burton, of whom I was a fan, being the iconic metal bass player and the player for early Metallica albums. In retrospect, this was very fitting, as in the solo section, Gould cranks the distortion, plays some impressive runs, goes into the higher ranges of the bass neck, and even bends notes, which were all signature techniques of Burton's playing. After matter-of-factly proving Epic is exactly what it claims to be, we are led into Falling to Pieces by a simple yet effective bass intro played with heavy fingerstyle strikes and bending notes, leading into a great hopping bass line with plenty of interjecting flourishes.
Resolutions look for way again. Right through my fingers back
song is a masterclass on effective transitioning fills between sections and solid fundamental bass technique. Distorted tone effective for heavier genres and some well-placed slap bass to boot. This whole song could be the easiest example to immediately show a beginner bass player just how good Billy Gould's playing is. Surprise, You're Dead is Faith No More's very own flavour of thrash metal, with high speed demanding metal riffage. This is unsurprising as Faith No More's members were close friends with members of Metallica, especially the aforementioned Cliff Burton. Jim Martin and Mike Bordin were in a band with Burton in their teens, so it's not too far-fetched to imagine their influence on Faith No More's songwriting. The bridge section of this song is a particular highlight, beginning in the fast galloping open notes with harmonic minor flavours, jumping into a hard-hitting section with multiple time signature changes and riffs I can only describe as finger-twisted. Zombie Eaters, in my opinion, is the highlight for Gould's versatility as a bass player on the album. It has delicate moments where the bass works in tandem with the vocal melody, an interesting major scale run reminiscent of Baroque music, and an excellent use of distortion and dead notes to lead into the heavier section. Once again, there is a comparison to Metallica to be drawn, in this case their song Disposable Heroes off the 1986 Master of Puppets album. Gould takes a similar approach to Burton when there is a heavy gallop on the guitars, by choosing specific accents on the bass and interjecting with well-placed slide notes, which really add to the groove as opposed to just doubling the guitar rhythm. Relative to the other songs I've covered in this video, the title track of this album feels like an exercise in restraint for Gould's bass playing, adding excitement to each section in very measured amounts, allowing for the other instruments to shine, especially the dynamics of Mike Borden's drum work. That's not to say the bass takes a backseat, as the bass guitar is quite prominent in the mix with Gould's signature distorted tone. By having this style of focus on the bass, its absence is felt more, and when the bass returns to the song, it escalates the tension with slide notes or interjects excitement by elevating the guitar riff, with a similar approach to the galloping as previously mentioned in Zombie Eaters. Gould's playing is more focused on reinforcing the guitar riffs in the heavier sections of the song, and reinforcing the vocals in the more subdued moments, which is a great approach to writing bass parts. Woodpecker from Mars is a straight-up wet dream for Paul Rudd's character in I Love You Man. The slap bass in this song just goes hard. I remember hearing this song for the first time I listened to The Real Thing as a young fledgling bass player, and thinking it was just incredible. The rhythmic bounce works really well with the Middle Eastern inspired melodies played by Roddy Bottum. Altogether, this is a great showcase of the whole band's playing ability. Alright, that is my first ever video covering the early half of Billy Gould's career. I'm just smashing these out in my shed on my phone. I'm hoping to get a better quality camera in future, and I've already started scripting and working on a part 2 for Billy Gould, and gonna do some more players in the future, all instruments. Feel free to recommend them in the comments and hit like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching.